everybody out there. I am your host. That's right, Jessica Koch. We are back. It is Profound Professionals. We are the interview series that has been bringing you industry experts from all over the world to help improve your personal life and grow your business. I have a guarantee today that you are going to love what we are absolutely doing, because Mitch here is an expert who guarantees, that's right, a big fat promise, and the Vegas style promise. He can get you onto up to 4 networks, television network interviews in as fast as 2 days. And that is his promise to you. And we're going to hear all about how that became his superpower. So welcome, Mitch.
Great to be here, Jessica. Thanks for having me on your show on Be Connected.
Absolutely, that's right. We are live streaming on many platforms, including LinkedIn, and we are on Twitch and several other places. And you will be able to find us so many more if you're watching the replay. But thank you for those of you who are joining us live right now. And Mitch, tell us, how did you become the Vegas network whisperer? How did you become this media guy who could guarantee such magical results?
It is because of my background. I was a home shopping network pitchman years ago in the 90s. So I know how to pretty much sell anything to a live audience. And that means people as well, to sell what people want to hear. And what I do is take a person, put them in a Tiffany box, and then hand that box to the show producer and or booking agent in these studios such that they'll want to feature this person. It's all how you package them. There are a lot of PR agencies around the country. Now, I must back up a second. Others can do the same in other cities, possibly. I live in Las Vegas. I breathe Las Vegas. I have personal relationships with these networks, so I'm there all the time. They will take my call versus a PR agency in Des Moines, Iowa, or in Maryland for that matter, calling up. They have no connection, no relationship. And as you know, as a mature business person yourself, everything is relationship based. That trumps, pardon the pun, trumps transactional relationships. Because if you're a PR agency operating in another state far away, you're only there to transact. You have no relationship with Judy, who's the booking agency over at Fox 5. She doesn't know you from Adam. And for you to get her on the phone would be an act of God. For her to pay attention to your email, that would take 2 gods. you get it? So it's not going to happen. I have personal cell phone numbers of the people that can say yes or no. And they say yes to me because I've proven, and I never let them down, because everybody is media trained before they go on TV. Because the worst thing that can happen, because my reputation is at stake, I take somebody who says, yeah, Mitch, I want to be on TV. I can do this. And they're on live TV. This is not recorded. It's live. There is no forgiveness. If you stand in front of a camera, or you're seated actually on a talk show, and you're asked a question and you freeze and say, oh, you know, I'm dead.
That's right.
You know, you're finished, because you had your 2.5 minutes to 4 minutes of fame already allocated to you. And if you don't execute properly, whose fault is that? It's my fault, not yours, because you weren't trained properly. And my relationship with the network is now jeopardized. So everybody must be vetted, must be trained, must go through practice sessions, as in plural, with me before they are released to the host. Got to be ready. Very, very different than being a podcast guest. Podcast guesting is a great stepping stone, great preparation. You could be more expansive with your answers. You can occasionally use ums, rights, you know, like all those verbal faux pas that American people use when they communicate. Some American people use. I don't. I corrected myself years ago. That is not acceptable language when you're on TV. I will be crucified if any of my guests speak like they're a teenager from LA. No, not acceptable. You must be prepared. You must speak in sound bites, professional look at the host.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't have any nose hairs coming out of your nose that are going to be distracting on camera. All of these little tips are necessary. You've got to be packaged like Tiffany. Coming in here with a shredded Walmart box won't work.
Yeah, I totally agree with the whole piece that you're sharing, especially image, right? So for us in the podcast world and things, I mean, you're seen from the waist up, but there is a full look, and then there's also a way you need to hold your hands, how your posture, how you sit. I mean, all the things. You know, if you dare take a drink from the glass of water that's just staged next to you on the left. You know, all those pieces of the puzzle are so much more amplified in that kind of a setting from an interview standpoint. And I'm guilty for the ums all the time. Of course, now I'm hearing them because you're talking about them. They're all right for me. I'll have to have them beaten out of me if I ever decide to get on television.
Television, time is of the essence, and they're valuable, and they're time wasters. They're fillers. Mm-hmm. They're verbal faux pas, and it's a way of buying time as your thoughts are gathered. Mm-hmm. I prefer to have somebody say nothing, pause, use the right words, say it correctly, concisely, in sound bites. Then you're allowing the host to move on to the next topic, next question. They're only as good as the information you give them. And they're prepared. They've done their jobs. You've already submitted questions. They know about you. They study you before they interview you, much like you looked into my background. No different. This has much more forgiveness because editing is a possibility here. If I say something, not like you want to go on a big editing rampage with a red pen. You get my drift though. So we have.
Well, we were actually live too, so whatever is on the raw live cuts, you're gonna get, including all my uhs.
But you're human. You're human, yeah. And I'm talking about an optimal performance when you're on TV. It is a performance. You're using that as your marketing piece. This is a marketing piece for me. For sure. Now, I got feedback, which I need to improve for my next interview. The background, what the interviewer looked at me and brought something up. I record in here with the camera coming from a different angle against a green screen over here. But now that I've got my desk set up like this, he said, your tiles are a little bit wanky, like there's space. It doesn't look perfect. I got to fix my background. So I take feedback also. I know what to do on TV. Doing these podcast interviews is a new platform for me. I've only been doing them about 2 weeks. So I've got to upgrade my background and change it. I mean, yours is perfect. You've got some books behind you.
Mine's a bit busy, but I like a real look, and this is really true to my.
You got some flowers there.
Yeah, and I'm an Italian, you know, and the red flowers kind of have a meaning for me, and the glass work too, and the books are powerful for what I do. So, so this is why I've left it this way.
Got it.
All right. So tell us how this became your expertise. So you don't walk in the door having great relationships with these media experts and knowing how to function on television. I mean, you talked to us about QVC a little, but how did that transition?
Well, I worked on Home Shopping Network. QVC was the competitor, but that's fine. People get those mixed up a lot. They're not as big as they once were. But when I did it, I had about 5 million viewers. And what the accidental involvement with Home Shopping Network came because I was running an injection molding plant in Los Angeles, California. We had a housewares division of products, and I had inventors that used to come in looking to have their products manufactured by us. And it really became a buildup of new people coming and exposing new inventions. And they said they were good inventors, but on camera, they would have been terrible, terrible. And I got asked by one inventor, hey, can you take this? I said, where you want to take this? This product needs to be demonstrated. You're going to probably need to go on QVC or Home Shopping Network. This will be a great way to demonstrate your product and use it as a springboard to get into the mass market big box retailers, Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart, etc., depending on the product. And person said, well, can you do it for me? I don't think I'd be good on TV. I said, okay. And I watched some segments. And the first time I did it, I ran into the bathroom and threw up. I was so nervous, knowing that 5 million people were going to be watching me on live TV. Now, I didn't have an audience in front of me. I only had a camera. But knowing that 5 million people were tuning in freaked me out. And I overcame it. And I did it again and again and again. And I got better slowly. And more products were placed in front of me. And I started that way. And I picked it up by doing it. I faced my fear, which is face everything and rise. I pushed through, got better. Because what makes us uncomfortable, if you address it, you can overcome it. So I overcame that fear of speaking, and certainly speaking to 5 million people on camera as I did more segments, and immediately pushed through it. So I leveraged that experience of being a pitchman on TV for products to then, I was already speaking on stages around the country. At that time, I was only on a national basis. Then I was speaking overseas. I've spoken on stages in 63 countries now because of my expansion. And what I found was many of the speakers lacked credibility. They might have been product or service experts of their share, their presentation, their speech, their keynote speech. But if they didn't have the proper credentials, the arrows in the quiver in order to claim and be the irrefutable expert, hard to put butts in seats for the promoter. So it could be Jessica Koch, who does XYZ job, who has a product that she's selling. You're going to draw very few people. You will draw more people that you've been a podcast host for 8 years. Your credibility went up several notches. If you're also a published author, maybe it's a compilation of all the people that you've been a host for, and you have a book about the journey you've been on through this process, your credibility goes up another couple notches. Then if you've been on network television, you've been on network radio shows, terrestrial radio, again, goes up. If you've been featured in Forbes, more. You've been on the Wall Street Journal, more. You get the picture. You have a fully developed, worked, LinkedIn profile that's filled out completely. You publish articles, upload videos, your YouTube channel is built out. All of these add value and strength. It's more badges that you're putting on your coat to stand out. And what I found was the more media speakers had, and if they were published authors, which is a really important addition for anybody that is serious in business, got to have a book or a book series, optimally a book series. You can own your niche. You can own your category. Most people don't put in that extra effort in order to give themselves distinction in the marketplace. And as a result of seeing all these necessary boxes to check, I started seeking PR for myself and realized there are some good ones and a lot of bad ones. I fortunately had a good one out of the gate in my first campaign. She then subsequently retired. She was older. She did a fantastic job. So she was my benchmark. Then I hired others and they failed miserably. The only thing they were good at was cashing my check. Yeah, they certainly did that very well. Random. Well, and then when I started producing events, I made sure my speakers had the credentials necessary for me to get an audience to come in to want to see them. want to see them. It's all about packaging. Put somebody in a Tiffany box, you've got attention.
Well, what's that ideal someone? I don't want to interrupt you, but what's that ideal someone that, what do they have to have in place already to really work with you so that they think, well, I'll qualify for this if I reach out to him, or I'm in the right industry, or I speak on the right topic? What are you looking for when you're looking to place these individuals?
Three people, because at this point in my career, I'm a lot less interested in traveling. I've got 3.5 million miles in the air. So I know what's necessary to put somebody on TV and what the producers are looking for. Ideal, I work with 3 avatars. 1, authors or soon to be released authors. Number 2, professional speakers. People are looking just exactly as I described, or looking to use media to help raise their fees and justify the raising of the fees. The key word is justify. You have to justify getting more money or asking for more money. And third, CEOs, business owners.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how are you working with them? Is it all virtually one-on-one? Is it some in person? Is there a hybrid approach you have? Is it an online course? Do you do webinars and group trainings? What are you doing? All one-on-one. Okay.
One-on-one with a person. I do have a video that they need to watch first, which will prepare them for our in-person training, but nobody goes on TV unless passing through my filter. I cannot afford a failure. I would be dead. I must have them trained, and I must personally vet them. So that is a one-on-one, which is included in my package. Then they fly out to Las Vegas, and I take them to the various shows over a 2-day period of time, and potentially a radio show or 2, depending on availability and the topic of their book or their message, if you will.
Sure. What's a tip that this has been a really interesting journey you've been on, and really cool service that you provide others. I'm excited to see how you can help others reach more people with their message and their book and their purpose and their company. So tell us a tip that everyone watching can use today.
Today is a new day. And you see trending news all day long. So at this point, if you've got a unique spin on anything AI, you might garner some attention. It was very easy for me to get on TV in multiple markets when I wrote a book on AI. Easy for me and for clients. Anything AI related is simple, easy to place you. It's trending. If you can piggyback on current news or events. Right now, we're in a hot debate stage between Kamala Harris and former President Trump. So if you have an opinion that might be relevant and newsworthy is there, they might pursue you. So it's called news jacking. And that's the tip that most people overlook. And it is an alternate way to get on TV other than a book. In looking at a media calendar. Okay, media calendar is a whole nother, that would be a bonus tip, but the tip I'm referring to is newsjacking. What's current that you can ride the wave on? And right now, at this moment, when you're interviewing me, Jessica, we talked a little politics beforehand, which I won't repeat on this interview. But if anybody wants to piggyback on what's going on, Biden falling asleep and all these things that have occurred recently. Now, the pro is you can get a tremendous amount of traction out of this right now. The con is it won't be there when the election's over. It's over. Don't talk about it. It's finished. Yesterday's news is not relevant. Nobody cares. So jump on the media bandwagon now. You can write articles now. You can get on radio shows now. You get on TV shows now. If you're able to carve out a particular newsworthy topic that they'll want to pick up and feature you. That's the tip. Works in any market, anytime. And right now we're at a very unusual time politically, a pivot point for the whole world. An example of this, if I may, how the result of this, of Kamala Harris being elected president of the United States will affect our relationship with China and why. Oh my gosh, that's newsworthy. Mm-hmm. We're dependent on China. China's dependent on us. I don't think going to war is even a possibility with them. There's way too much at stake. That's my counter opinion. Somebody else could have an opinion about it and justify it. Well, we're actually not that dependent on them because of the following reasons, 1, 2, and 3. That's enough to garner an interview.
I think this is a very interesting information and very valuable tip giving. And I will give my very good non-disclaimer. I am the Italian mother of 7, as all my watchers know. We have 8 grandkids, but I'm not your mama. We're not giving you a legal, political, financial, or medical advice here. These are the opinions of our viewers. So just of our guests, and just take it with a grain of salt. This is information and different ways to leverage how valuable your opinion, your expertise might be in relevance to the news, and nothing to cause offense for anyone watching based on whatever your opinion is. So that being said, I want to ask you one more question before we move on.
Sure.
And out of the tip world, and it's a little bit selfish. I'm hoping you can myth bust something for me. So especially for, and this could be for men and women, but I know as a woman, it's in my mind. In my mind, to be on television, you need to have the perfect everything, the perfect figure, the perfect everything. So getting on television gives me great amount of anxiety from that standpoint. How do you help customer guests prepare who may not be where they want to see themselves on television?
You're perfect the way you are. I know we all go through, and me included. If I, there's body shaming of myself. If I look in the mirror, I'm not my ideal weight. I've put on some weight this year because of some situations that have come on. I've gained weight. I don't look, there's a reason I wear black. It hides it. And you just gave a good reason or understanding. You look like a mom. You said you have 7 kids, Jessica?
Yeah, we have 7 children and 8 grandchildren.
Wow. I mean, nobody's going to judge. That already took any steam off from you trying to look like Christy Brinkley. I'm probably trying for it. And I don't look like Tom Cruise. We're unique to ourselves. If you've got value, you look like a regular person. I look like a regular person. I don't care. I look the best that Mitch can look. Jessica looks the best that Jessica can look. You look like an easy to talk to person, hence you're a show host. You look you're disarming in your demeanor. That is very appealing to an audience on TV. Just to debunk this myth that you have to look great. The hosts have to look great. Guests do not.
Oh, well, that's good. That takes a lot of pressure off me.
Well, yeah, when you're a host on TV, you do have to look your best. It doesn't matter for the guest. I think you need to look well respected, and what you're dressed with right now is fine. No polka dots, no stripes, because that gets distorted on camera. Mm-hmm. It pixelates. But you look fine. I think people want to see real people. Because remember, if you match your audience, you've done everything right. Mm-hmm. And the 7 kids, you've got to be a nice person.
They're all still alive, so yeah.
That's good.
They made it. I did mention I'm an Italian. We have a temper.
I got it. Well, all right. Well, I won't upset you. We're on opposite coasts.
We're good. Well, I want to know in the comments, if you out there watching, or whether you're watching a replay or not, throw in the comments if you've been on live television somewhere or on a network radio station, or even if you've been on other podcasts, put it in there in the comments, hit that share button because we want to hear from you. Now, one of the big things I'm super proud of at 8 years starting this, every single guest that we have brought on has shared a cause that's close to our hearts. And this gives us a moment of pause to not be about how amazing Mitch is or how fabulous Jessica is, but take a moment and share some awareness and maybe inspire someone to give time, treasure, and talent. You out there watching, you know the drill. You've been following us for a long time, and we're grateful for you. Put the cause that you love in the comments. You just might inspire someone to give time, treasure, and talent to the cause you love, or remind them, oh yeah, they have one that they adore. And even better yet, they just might do a random act of kindness. So be a hero, inspire someone today. All you have to do is push that little button and hit share, put the information in there and share with us what you love. And Mitch, share a cause that's close to your heart.
Well, I'll share two.
Okay.
You get a bonus. One, my mother died when she was 45 years old of breast cancer. So the American Cancer Society is obviously very important to me. The politics that are inside, that's maybe worthy of another discussion, but that's something I'm involved with. I care about because I was robbed of my mother when I was young. I was 22 when she passed. She was 45. She died far too young. You know, so I'm very
there's probably no one that hasn't been touched by someone in their lives from cancer that they know.
Correct.
In some way.
Yeah, it's just part of our culture, our society, for a variety of reasons. So that is one. My second is I lived overseas for 13 years. And many of the years, 11 of the years were when I lived in Thailand. My cause that I care about is the abandoned children on the streets. And when I retire, which is not too far outside of my scope at this point, I will go back and open an orphanage where I'll bring in abandoned women, because the culture is very different over there. Kids on the street, and teach them business skills so they can be self-supporting. And my charity will be charitably contributed to by Mitch. I'm not asking for handouts from anybody else, because that's a whole business in itself, asking for handouts. And it will sustain itself through these life skills that I want to teach children to, you know, maybe not toddlers, but kids that are of age to where they can work on a computer and handle maybe social media postings, maybe video editing, tasks that they can then use once they become legal and can go out on their own and start their own businesses and make their own money, self-supporting, self-sustaining.
I love that. That's a great desire to have. So thank you for sharing that. Now, you know the drill. What's next is get typing, put in the comments the book that inspired your personal life or helped you grow your business, so that you can inspire someone else to possibly transform. Maybe it's that specific book they need in their lives just today. Maybe better yet, you're an author. If you are, your ears should be perked up, because Mitch isn't going to be in this business forever. So you want to get with him as an author especially. So if you've authored a book, put that in the comments as well. When you hit that share button, someone else might too. And your featured book can then be moving through the World Wide Web here. That's what makes it viral. Just kind and friendly people trying to get the word out to support one another. Mitch, how about you? A book that inspired your personal life or helps you grow your business?
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is a classic. I mean, there are several that I could recite, but I'll just use that as one. And I reference it a lot in my presentation when I go out and present, because I talk about the tenets of that book and what Napoleon Hill found of the millionaires at the turn of the century had certain characteristics, certain traits that he recognized. And that's what the book was about. How do you become successful? What do successful people do, and do what they do, and you can replicate and model them. And that book opened my eyes. I use it as a reference, you know, the power of mastermind. There's, you know, making quick decisions versus sitting on a fence and not acting at all. You know, a couple that come to mind. There's just so many great nuggets out of that book. So I refer to that. And I'm also a published author myself.
Yes. I want to make one comment on Napoleon Hill. This is why I believe people should be an author of a book, as we talked about before, really setting them apart, making them an industry expert and memorable, but it also leaves a legacy, right? I would really be curious if someone did a study to find out how many books since Napoleon have referenced Napoleon's book, right? How many were inspired and transformed by his life and then wrote books and came about his process and system in their own secret sauce and formula, right? And were transformed by him and many other experts to come up with their own success story and their own book. But there's so many books out there that actually reference him as part of why they're in existence and why they had success. So that would be truly fascinating, because it's definitely one of my favorites as well. But yes, we want to talk about Mitch, the author. So talk to us about what inspired you to write a book of your own and what books you have out there or which ones are coming.
Yeah, well, I wrote a book that was published by John Wiley and Sons in 2008 called The Silent Salesmen, MEN, and it changed my mindset. I owned an ad agency in Los Angeles at that time, and I was already a speaker. My income really went up because I believed I deserved to make more money because I was a published author. I did what other successful people did who were on the speaking circuit alongside me. They said, Mitch, you got to have a book. You got to have a book. And I heard that so many times. I finally went and wrote it and did it. And I got to tell you, changed my life, because how I value myself, how I valued myself at that point was making X amount of dollars, because I had gone to college, got an undergraduate degree, later went on and got an MBA, and I felt I deserved X amount of dollars. I cracked the ceiling of constraint of income when I became an author, because authors made, many of these people that were on the circuit speaking made a lot more money than I was making at that time. And it allowed me to leapfrog my own self-limiting beliefs to allow more energy is money, coming into my life. It flowed because I felt I deserved. I just got back from a trip in Singapore where I was showing people how to write books and upload them, and the success already for people just recently published, making money because of doors opening to them that would have never been opened before. It changes the thinking in between our ears. It also alters how others perceive us. And when we do rely on the perception of others to be successful, in many cases, gatekeepers open their gates. Gatekeepers allow us to go in and tap into their resources. Gatekeepers will then allow us and promote us, will allow us to promote ourselves, and they will promote us as well, because the respect and credibility increases greatly. It's that powerful when you become an author. That's why I did it. I've written several books since in different languages. Most were never published, but I used them as fancy business cards to complement programs I was selling. Because the reason I didn't publish them, I didn't want them to be valued at $19.99 like other books. These were special edition. I assigned a multiple $100 value to these as guides. So it was how I positioned them. You can't go and find them because they weren't available. They were only given if you bought an expensive system. It was a bonus. And guys, you can't buy this anywhere. And I had to stay congruent to my promise. You cannot buy these. They didn't even have an ISBN number. These were complements to a product. So that's how I started to use books also. And there are multiple categories. Over the years, I've used them in that way. But in terms of being published by John Wiley and Sons, one book still there on Amazon, you could see it. And it changed my life.
Well, I think that's fantastic. And I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed being on our show as much as we've loved having you.
I've loved it. You've been a great host. Thank you.
If you're watching, and we know you are, and thank you for that, and you're thinking, wait, I'm an industry expert. I could improve someone's personal life. I could grow someone's business. I have a book. I have a book inside me. I have a dream. I'm a speaker. I could do something good. Well, get featured on our show. Reach out to the team and they'll let you know just how to do that. And before we say goodbye, don't worry, everyone. I'm not going to let Mitch get away without sharing his final thought, a piece of information or inspiration you can close out our show today with. Mitch, what do you got for us?
I'm going to pull a piece from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Something I've embraced, successful people embrace, and I touched on it briefly, but I'm going to reemphasize the importance. When you see an opportunity in front of you, seize it. Sir Richard Branson said, if you see a great opportunity, and it's a corollary to what Napoleon Hill wrote about, do it and figure out how to manage it later. Act on opportunities, because overanalysis will leave you in paralysis. And you need to act. Cut back on Netflix. You can scratch anytime when you are in another place, but get accomplished today. Seize the opportunities that are available to you on a daily basis. Separate yourself from people that suffer from, I'll get to it later. Those are not words a successful person uses. Act without delay. And whatever that is for you, and you know what I'm talking about, that could be the gym. That could be cleaning your house. That could be acting on a program that's been sitting in the closet. Could be many things. It could be coming and visiting Mitch in Las Vegas to do TV segments, if that applies to you. That's my big pitch. All of these things, all of these opportunities are there because my definition of luck, and it's unique to me because I made it up, but it will make sense to you. Opportunity plus action equals luck. Opportunity plus action. We are availed all sorts of opportunities on a daily basis. You interview people consistently. You're seeing opportunities, things that are exciting you, Jessica, all the time.
I do.
And what you act on, you choose to act on. So you're creating your own luck and fortune because you're out there as a podcast host. You could have quit a long time ago, but you stayed the course. And you're constantly creating opportunities for yourself. And so can your listeners. Podcast hosting isn't for everybody. I probably will do it myself at some point in the near future. Makes sense. I've been a guest today and learning this new platform. I'm seeing the opportunity and I'm planning to execute. So whatever is in front of you is an opportunity. Execute. Create your own luck.
I love that advice. And I would say, I'm so glad I took it myself in the early days when podcasting started. 8 years ago, I founded this and it wasn't what everyone was doing, right? Now everybody and their uncle has a podcast. And when people come to me and say, oh, you've been running it for 8 years. Yeah, I've been doing it before it was cool. And that actually also validates and gives me some credibility that you were talking about before. So I love that advice. And I'll give you one more. You quoted Napoleon Hill and Sir Richard Branson and yourself on getting things done and taking opportunities right now. Well, there's a Jessica Koch quote out there. It came because of her teenagers. It is now is later sooner, so do it now. I had a whole bunch of teenagers when I would say, go clean your room, would say, oh, I'll do it later, Mom. Now is later so much sooner. Go do it now. So now is later sooner. Do it now. That worked for homework, cleaning, honey-do lists, and it should work for you out there too. So thank you everyone for watching. This has been a great show. This is Profound Professionals. We are the interview series that features industry experts globally. We're almost at 1,000 experts from all over the world. They help improve your personal life and grow your business. I'm your host, Jessica Koch. And until next time, be kind to yourself out there and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody. you.